and thank you for being here this afternoon. Today, I'm happy to share with you the plan which emerged from our recent facilitated process regarding the challenges we face with sustaining Catholic secondary education. As you know, in November, at my request, an expedited facilitated dialogue process trying to resolve the many questions and concerns regarding Cathedral High School was undertaken. In late January, over 2 days at the Genesis Spiritual Life Center, all issues and challenges were put on the table. After much conversation, and after looking at many options, the plan which emerged as the only one which met our objectives was to engage the Holyoke Catholic community and pursue the creation of a new regional Catholic high school. Bringing together these two great legacies as a new school for what will be an exciting new chapter in Catholic education here in Western Massachusetts. As soon as that proposal came forth, seeing there were no delegated members of the Holyoke Catholic community at the problem-solving session to represent their concerns, all discussion of any particulars was set aside. This includes any designation for the site of a new regional school. I have since met personally with both schools' boards, as well as the Diocesan School Board and our Finance Council. They have been supportive of the plan in general terms, but all understand there are many miles to go in making this a reality. I have assured them that the process of creating this new school will include input from all parties. I want to stress that no details other than the concept of a new regional school have been decided. Today, I am presenting this plan at the 35,000-foot level. There will be much work ahead to manage all the details and to bring this in for a safe and successful landing. In order to get this process started, I have asked Dr. Paul Gagliarducci, former superintendent of schools for both Somers, Connecticut, and the Hampton-Wilbraham Regional School District, to chair this new Catholic secondary education initiative. He will be aided by a board which will be named in the coming weeks. Dr. Gagliarducci participated in the problem-solving sessions, and he was very helpful to all of us. Most importantly, he has background working with constituency groups and building new academic facilities. Assisting him will be the educational consultants, partners in mission. They will help with developing marketing and development strategies for the new school. Partners comes to us as a known and successful entity, having provided invaluable help to St. Michael's Academy here in recent years. Among the many early questions that must be addressed is the eventual site for the new school. The current short-term goal would be to bring the student bodies together by the fall of 2016. As for the permanent site, I've encouraged them to look at all possible sites, including the Surrey Road location. This will include a demographic analysis as to the best possible location in light of what is available on the diocesan inventory and, if deemed necessary, elsewhere. In recent weeks, indeed in recent months, I have contemplated and prayed over this decision quite a bit. I've recalled that throughout the history of our church, our ability to change and adapt has been central to our mission of spreading the good news. While I'm very excited about the possibilities this plan offers, at the same time, I recognize that this new entity will mean some sacrifices and a sense of loss on behalf of both the Holyoke Catholic and Cathedral communities. To this, I hope we can take a lesson from the first Sisters of St. Joseph who came to our diocese from New York and started the first cathedral high school in a few rooms above the cathedral main altar in 1883. They left behind what was comfortable and known to them for that which was indeed uncertain. They took a leap of faith, and for over 130 years, that mission has continued. I believe today we have every reason to be hopeful as we embark on this new journey together. Of course, the eventual long-term success of this new school, or any of our Catholic schools, lie with the parents who will choose a Catholic education for their children, and to our faithful alumni who support these schools. I believe that we have been guided in faith on a path which is sustainable. I thank you for being here. I know that there are probably a few questions, so be willing to entertain our questions at this point.
Bishop Rozanski, I'm just a little unclear in terms of when the student bodies would get together. The current short-term goal would bring them together by the fall of 2016. Where would that be while you're developing it?
Certainly. What we are envisioning is working with Dr. Gagliarducci and with the different planning committees. How that would evolve would be in their recommendations to me. So no decision has been made, but we have set that as a goal for fall of 2016. But we have the time now to be able to work through that and implement that so that we will have time to properly plan for it.
Is there a rough timetable for completion of building a new school, a new regional Catholic high school? Do you have a time frame for that?
I would like to see it built within 2.5 years.
And again, you mentioned the Surrey Road site as a possible site. Any other sites you can tell us today that are under consideration?
The committee asked us to look at different sites in the diocese, both of land that we have and other possible sites. So we're just keeping the options open. But we want to do a demographic study first before we would land on a site for building.
Bishop, was there any thought about bringing St. Mary's in Westfield into this discussion?
St. Mary's High School is a parish high school. So it is run by St. Mary's Parish. When we were having these discussions, we felt that bringing together, at this point, Holyoke Catholic and Cathedral were the option that really was available to us.
Mike?
Bishop, if you're not going to build on Surrey Road, what would the diocese do with that property?
Well, we haven't ruled that out yet, so we haven't really made any decisions about that property.
Terry?
So Bishop, would you say that the current Holyoke Catholic site is capable of hosting all the students if it came down to that by the fall of 2016?
That's what we will study over these coming months and look at that option also for fall of 2016. I believe that's one option that would be available to us.
Bishop Rozanski, have you thought about a name for the new school at this point?
As we progress forward, and we have well over 1.5 years before the fall of 2016, my vision would be to engage the students of both the current Cathedral and Holyoke Catholic, the parents, the teachers, the administrators of those two schools, and we would work together along on that vision. So no name has surfaced yet. We would feel that would be part of the process of bringing those two entities together with the input of as many people as we could have.
Karen?
Bishop Alkari, Jerry from New England Public Radio. You're talking about the number of students actually, that you envision in this new building. First of all, talk about the number of students you currently have at Holyoke Catholic and how many students you envision at the new facility.
Certainly. Currently, there are around 200 students, just over 200 students at Cathedral, and I believe there are just over 245 at Holyoke Catholic. I would envision the new building to really be built right-sized for 500 to 600 students. Certainly, that will, again, too, be studied as we go forward. What would be the right size? But it seems as though that number has been proposed, and we're comfortable with that number.
Terry?
Bishop, I want to ask you about St. Michael's Academy Middle School too, because they were obviously affected by the tornado. So how does this impact them?
St. Michael's Middle School will remain where it is on the Holy Cross Parish campus.
Bishop, would the location, the possible locations, be in Holyoke or in Springfield, or are both of them, locations being looked at in both cities?
We're looking at as many locations that are possible. The decisions that really will come to the fore, and I've set this as a priority, is what will serve our students and their families best as we go forward. That's why I believe in taking the time that we have in order to do all these studies. We want to get this right. We want to get this right for our students, and we want to get this right for our Church of Springfield.
Bishop, Alessandra from 22 News. How do you plan on working with the Committee for Cathedral Action?
Well, I think we're trying to involve as many people as we can. We will have processes to have as much input as we can. And I believe that this is really not just an effort by one or two groups. This is a diocesan-wide effort. So this is a diocesan-wide church effort.
Terry?
Bishop, you talked about, you're very excited about the possibilities, but you also mentioned that you recognize that there'll be some sacrifices and even a sense of loss on both the behalf of the Holy Catholic and Cathedral communities. Could you elaborate on that? What do you mean by sense of loss? Given that
Sure.
This is a new facility, it should be a sense of celebration.
Certainly. We're in the season of Lent, and in these 40 days of Lent, we identify with the sacrifice that Jesus made for us. And in identifying with the sacrifice that Jesus made for us, we know that these 40 days of Lent lead us to Good Friday. And it's a day when we commemorate Jesus' death. We know that all of life is death and resurrection. We know that we do get to Good Friday. We don't remain in Good Friday. We come to Easter Sunday, and with Jesus we rise. Our hopes rise with him in his life. So certainly the two legacies of those schools, deep in the hearts of alumni, of the current students, of the parents who sent children there, grandparents who sent children there, deep, deep in their hearts. And I think for Catholics, what's difficult about these decisions is perhaps we can feel them and see them clearly with our minds, but we also feel with our hearts. We're so tied to our institutions. And I sense that that's where the sense of loss would come from.
Paul?
Bishop, is the International Baccalaureate program that started at Cathedral High School a few years ago, is that by the boards now with this merger with Holyoke Catholic?
Holyoke Catholic also has the international students. Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Yes.
Well,
The program.
the baccalaureate program.
Oh, okay. And could you just speak to what that program is? And
Could you identify yourself, please?
Ann Southworth, president of Cathedral. The International Baccalaureate program is for Cathedral, but I am sure that we did such a good job, not that I'm bragging, in earning that diploma, that it would be very easy as we merge to keep it here and train all the teachers, the new teachers who might be in the building, the current teachers who haven't had that training. That would be fairly easy because we have wonderful staff to be able to do that.
Carolyn?
Carolyn Robbins from the Republican. Following up on that, what synergies will the schools bring to one another? I mean, they have obvious separate cultures and separate strengths. What could emerge or bring together for these two high schools and their students and the curriculum?
The one holy Catholic and apostolic faith that we all share in common, that we bring together. And certainly I've learned being here in Springfield, as when I was auxiliary bishop in Baltimore, each parish has its own personality. But certainly each parish and each school share our faith in the Lord Jesus and share our belief in the gospel, and that the gospel enlivens our lives.
Right. Bishop Rosensky, have the folks at Holyoke Catholic been consulted, advised about this decision, and if so, what was their response?
I met with the board of Holyoke Catholic, and we realized that their current location is not for the long term, a sustainable place for a high school, and that having a new building, having one that is sustainable and having one that has the proper facilities, I think is an exciting prospect.
And can you talk a little bit about the logistics here in terms of money? How much money is left over from insurance? Will insurance be able to pay for a new school and that sort of thing? And what the expenditures are involved here?
Sure. I don't have those figures right in front of me, but we're looking both at the insurance money that is available and to the FEMA money. Now, some of the insurance money that was designated, part of it was designated for relocating St. Michael, the junior high, to St. Michael's Academy. Part of it was designated for some of the damages that were done to our parishes in the tornado, and some for the priest retirement home. And then, of course, there is, as we're working closely with Congressman Neal and the FEMA people on that FEMA allocation.
Michael?
Bishop, earlier we've heard about the need to have an endowment for scholarships for Cathedral. And this was emphasized a great deal in the last year and a half. So is the diocese planning to move forward with that campaign at the same time that it's undertaking this plan to have these merged high schools and have a regional high school?
The key to Catholic education today is to have a solid endowment. Our parents and our grandparents and our families make great sacrifices to send their children to Catholic schools. And if we have an endowment that says the whole church is interested in Catholic education, we're all interested in bringing up future generations of Catholics, endowment is key. And I would certainly stress that that is key to any Catholic high school and indeed any Catholic school.
Could you just, I'm sorry, could you just clarify what the timetable is for deciding on where, or if and where a new school would be built?
Certainly. I would hope that we could get running with that immediately after this press conference and would know that within the next few months.
But there's no firm deadline.
No, but there are different issues that we would like to see settled as soon as possible because our students want to know, our parents want to know. So we'd like to get to that as soon as possible and move on that. So I'm hopeful with Dr. Paul Gagliarducci, with his leadership and with his knowledge of the education systems both here and in Connecticut, that his committees will work together and expedite those recommendations as soon as possible.
We're gonna have Dr. Gagliucci just make a comment.
I'm sure most of you figured out that I must have been the one he was talking about and standing behind him. But so I'm Paul Gagliucci, and I certainly am honored to have been asked by the bishop to help with this endeavor. It is something that has become very dear to my heart in a very short period of time. I look forward to the challenges. I think the bishop has done a wonderful job in lining this plan up with the people involved, a tremendous amount of input from the stakeholders. I sat and watched for the 2 days on the weekend, and it was truly remarkable to see how the energy in the room and how the people were willing to take a look at new ideas that in our minds would answer the one question, which was to develop a plan that talked about the sustainability of secondary education in the Springfield Diocese. So I offered my assistance to the bishop in a letter, and he took me up on it, which was a surprise when I did get a call one day from him asking me if I would like to go further with the project. But I have nothing but great hope and excitement about this project. There's a lot of things, as the bishop said, that we need to work on. I was just thinking, as listening to him and your questions, you know, as of the end of this press conference today, we'll start on two parallel tracks, at least immediately. One would be working with the current people to decide about what needs to be done to begin to meld the two schools together. The second track has to do with how fast can we get a shovel in the ground. So as the bishop said, we can make a 2.5-year timeline to get the new school, get the cathedral replacement and a new school representing the new direction and the new energy. And we hope that school will have very robust programs, as they already do. We see the fact that the two great staff coming together will be nothing but good things for the students involved. We have great student bodies. I heard about some students today who have already offered to help whatever happens, and so there's just a lot of great energy and synergism going on.
Great.
Bishop, just a quick follow-up on the new school. In terms of cost and money, is it safe to say that the new school will be able to be built with current insurance money, or is there a possibility you may have to go beyond that and use money from other sources in the diocese to build a new high school?
With the current insurance money and the FEMA money, we are hoping that we will have the sort of resources there to build the school. We're confident of that.
Bishop, I know you spoke to Mayor Sarno. He just issued a statement. He says that he's calling on you to honor the commitment he said Bishop McDonald made to rebuild Cathedral on Surrey Road. I mean, do you feel that the Bishop McDonald did make that commitment, and are you reneging on that commitment?
Well, as I studied the situation and looked at what Cathedral's financial situation and future sustainability was, I knew that we had to look at a bold plan for secondary Catholic education here in the Diocese of Springfield. So if we were going to look at what was sustainable, what was practical, and what was best for our students, it's always good to look at all of those possibilities. So I feel that we owe it to our students, we owe it to our Catholic families, and we owe it to the Diocese of Springfield to look at those options that are available.
Mike?
Bringing up the FEMA money, sir, is the FEMA money attached to the property? In other words, is it attached specifically to development on the Surrey Road side, as opposed to using it, let's say if you found a location in Chicopee or Holyoke, something like that? Are there any rules saying where that FEMA money can be used?
I do not believe that there are, but I can ask, Mark has been a part of that process, if Mark knows any other information than what I have.
I think any decision to move it other than Surrey Road would have to involve some further conversations with FEMA. We understood that the Sandy Recovery Act was very broad-based and gave a lot of room to maneuver, if you will. But again, I think in fairness to FEMA and Congressman Neal, we'd have to re-engage a conversation. Alexander?
Yeah, just to re-clarify, 2016, we're hoping to have all the students at the Holyoke location, is that correct?
At one location.
Okay, and another question for you, besides financial allocations being a worry during this whole process, I know you also addressed the declining Catholic population in Western Massachusetts. Do you still worry about that at all?
Certainly. And you know what? That's a reminder to me that I have to be the chief evangelizer in the diocese. But I'm not the only evangelizer in the diocese. Each Catholic is called to be an evangelizer. So I think as Catholics, as Pope Francis has given us the example, we're called to reach out and to bring others to the joy of our faith. So I think it is a cause of concern, but it's also a cause to reflect on who we are as Catholics.
Paul?
Just as a follow-up to that, the diocese has released a lot of information about the about enrollment trends in Cathedral and the subsidy of the operations at Cathedral. Can anybody speak to what's going on at Holyoke Catholic? What are the enrollment trends there, and is there a similar commitment by the diocese to underwrite their operational expenses?
I will let Marianne Linehan speak to that. She is the interim principal at Holyoke Catholic.
If you could just spell your name for us, please.
Linnehan. I can only speak to our next year's enrollment, and we're looking at a quite the largest class we've had since we've been in Chicopee for our enrollment for September.
Which will be how many?
Well, I don't have a solid number. We have at least 95 applicants at the moment. So we're looking at close to 100 students for next year. 100 freshmen, 100 freshmen, yes.
So what's the total enrollment now?
Approximately 250.
And how many seniors will be graduating?
86.
And what's the tuition there?
Tuition at Holyoke Catholic is $8,500 a year, $7,500 with the parish's subsidy.
I have a question for you, Mr. Linehan.
Thank you.
Over the last 10 years, Holyoke Catholic went through a lot of difficulty as well. I don't know if you can speak to having gone through that and kind of where the school is today, and just that little bit of your own perspective of how the school fared through different sites. And
Well, Holyoke Catholic is looking forward to a partnership with Cathedral, because we too believe that the most important thing is a Catholic education for the children of the diocese, and at this point, that is our goal, to provide a quality education to all the students of the diocese. And Holyoke Catholic, I can say, based on the fact that we've been there, done that, we can do almost anything, and I know that Cathedral can too, because they've been down this road before too. So I know that together we're pretty strong. Separately, together we're going to be, unbeatable.
Yeah, Al Delascia, CCA. I almost get the impression that we're starting from ground zero, yet it's been 3 years and 9 months almost, okay? And by my count, $30.4 million of insurance money has already been spent. And my question is that there must have been work done, engineering work, site type of looking at, various things in terms of preparation for the new school. And, like, where is all that investment of time and money versus where you're going from this day forward?
Sure. I think that will all figure in as we go forward, so that we certainly don't start from scratch, but we have a good solid foundation to base where we move forward from here. Thank you.
Anyone else? Ray?
Just one quick question. Bishop, Can you tell us, was there a defining moment where you reached this decision? I know you've been talking about it and agonizing over it for the last 3 months or so, but was there a defining moment during this discussion process, these meetings, where the people said, look, this is the way we feel we're going to have to go to be sustainable and viable in the future, as opposed to going it on their own?
Sure. If you recall, in November, when I made the announcement that I wanted to take time to seriously look at at Cathedral High School and also our secondary education system here in the Diocese of Springfield, I asked that Monsignor John Bonzani would head up the different constituency groups to meet with them, and each constituency group elected one member who met at the Genesis Spiritual Life Center. So in a facilitated discussion over those 2 days, as every option imaginable was put up on the board, and I really am grateful and commend both those who participated in the constituency groups and those who participated in that weekend at Genesis, just showing their cooperation and their partnership in ministry and their interest in education. But as they started looking at the issues of sustainability, of what is practical, what can be done, it just kept narrowing the issue. And finally, everybody just came to a consensus and said, you know, really, if we are interested in the future of Catholic secondary education, this is the direction where we need to go. And it was a consensus-building group process that brought us to that conclusion.
You mentioned, and when I asked you about a name for the new school, you mentioned you're going to get input from students, from parents, and so forth. Who's going to make the decision, and how are you going to reach that decision on where the school's going to be built?
Well, I think we really do have to study demographics. We have to study where you need a certain amount of room, certainly for the high school and for the facilities that are part of the high school. So once we go through that process and that becomes clear, then those recommendations will be made to me, and I certainly will not make any of those decisions in a vacuum.
Terry, one more question, but would you say that the staff of each facility would be accommodated, or might there be layoffs? I know still a ways away.
We're Terry, we're really not far down the road on that one, but if we're looking at a new facility, certainly we're looking at positions where we probably don't even envision what those positions will be, but will need to be filled. So we're looking at that. We will be looking at that as we go through this process. I really thank you for your patience. I thank all of those who have participated in this process. They have been of invaluable help to me and my ministry here as bishop, and I thank you for your attendance here today. God bless you.
Thank you, Bishop.
Bishop.